Assalamualaikum and hello. I am Nur Izani Srina Mintizaidi with metric number 78404. We will be presenting about our issue, which is the injustice towards disabled employees at the workplace. Disability is defined as any condition of our body and mind, or in a simpler word, an impairment that makes it harder to those with disabilities to carry out certain activities, such as daily activities like house chores, breathing, walking, or even eating. The activity limitations prevent disabled workers or people to catch up with normal people who don't have any disability. Although there are many awareness on disabilities, the discrimination against disabled workers in organizations by their fellow workers is still a big and large issue. Disabled workers are prone to get discriminated and harassed by their peers and employers, which includes being treated less favorably, being mocked, and being humiliated in front of many people. As an example, the workers may avoid disabled workers and is less kinder to them compared to with normal workers without any disability because they regard them as disgusting. Or the workers will laugh and mock their fellow workers' disabilities. Or they will even humiliate them in front of other employees or employers. Employers also show some discrimination towards disabled workers, such as rejecting their interview due to the belief that disabled workers will bring them disadvantage or incompetency in their organizations. Simply put, they does not believe that disabled workers are able to do work. Another example might be the lack of high-ranking position being held by disabled workers even though they are qualified for it. And these disabled workers ended up being paid less by their employers. All of these discriminations will eventually cause them to be neglected and cause restrictions in their participations at workplace. Consequently, they will become the outcasts at the workplace, barely able to get the chance to prove their abilities and skills due to prejudices. Hence, our purpose is not only to let people know about how disabled workers struggle in these rapidly evolving industries, but we want them to also acknowledge and understand that there are solutions which can be executed to help more disabled workers or people to land a job, and for more disabled workers to be treated fairly in their organizations. We will proceed to the percentage of registered disabled workers and the solutions to increase the number of disabled workers.
Assalamualaikum and hi to my Layang and fellow friends who are watching. My name is Nur Fatin Fazana binti Sulaiman with matrix number 76357. I will be presenting about the percentage of registered person with disabilities (PWD) by categories of disabilities. This data was the latest data taken from Department of Social Welfare Malaysia, which was taken in the year of 2017. According to Department of Social Welfare Malaysia, the registered person with disabilities (PWD) in 2017 were 453,258 person. PWD in the physical category recorded the highest number, which was 35.2%, followed by learning disabilities category, which is 34.8%, and visually impaired category 8.9%. Speech category recorded the lowest registration of 0.5%. As we can see from the data, population of the registered person with disabilities taken over almost 2% of the overall population in the year of 2017. This does not include person with disabilities who does not being registered in Social Welfare Department. From the data alone, we can see why we need to take action against discrimination cases against people with disabilities. Thus, after our meeting, we have come out with 3 solutions or recommendations to companies to help more people with disabilities to be hired at the workplace which will be presented by the rest of my group mates. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Amanda Juya Anak Morris Madan, and my metrics number is 77810. I will be first to explain the solution to help companies to hire more people with disabilities to be hired at the workplace. I believe that hiring people with disabilities is not only a good deed, but it is also a good publicity for the company. This has something to do with the fact that disability becomes an important component of healthy diversity in the workplace. Not only does a company can diversify its workforces by hiring staff of different gender, age, race or cultural background, but companies should also employ handicapped individuals too. The first solution to help companies to hire more people with disabilities to be hired at the workplace is companies should broaden their talent practices. Training and assistance are essential in every firm to effectively help people with impairments. Here, I have outlined two main points that I will further elaborate on. To start with is a suggestion from a report written by Stadler in the year 2019 and published by shrm.org, which is to collaborate actively with community-based groups. Companies that do so will be able to seek aid in hiring talent from differently abled individuals to enhance the creativity and innovative ideas brought by their broad-based personnel. The next point to be discussed is firms with existing disabled employees should create training programs that covers communication with disabled workers and forge anti-discrimination regulations. Such firm must also ensure that these two crucial matters are offered on a regular basis. This is to ensure that the firm is well versed in disability related regulations and to conduct frequent disability awareness communication among workers. Here, the human resources team are encouraged to work actively with the disability employment services in order to develop insights in building a workspace free from disability discrimination. As a result, learning to comprehend the obstacles faced by people with disabilities who sometimes communicate differently in ways that others interpret as difficult to understand or rude, and adjusting to communicate with them effectively will reduce the social pressure they face. The workforce in the company must remember that training and skill development does not only mean improving individual expertise in the job merely for promotion or getting a pay raise, but acquiring the ability in recognizing and embracing the importance to care for the disabled needs will foster a positive work environment that enhances the firm's management system. That is all from me. I will pass this to the next speaker.
Hello everyone, my name is Winifred Anak James Ajay with the metric number 78585. So, my recommendation is the organization can implement programs and plans to meet the needs of employees with disabilities by developing a disability action plan. A disability action plan is a valuable tool for assisting the organization in better meeting the needs of its disabled employees. This should include any gaps in accessibility discovered during the audit, as well as changes to having a good premises and facilities. It is also best practice as well to include the organization's employment, discrimination, and training policies and procedures. Besides that, an organization should also provide an accessible accommodation for employees with disability. It is better to understand the accommodations connected to the person's handicap not for the sake of receiving special treatment, but for the clarity that comes with knowing how the person can meet the demands and obligations for the job. Besides that, employees with disabilities should have access to reliable working environment as well as all of the resources they may require completing their tasks. This may imply modifying the office space to make it more accessible. So there are a lot of accommodation that can be provided, such as providing reserved parking. Providing reserved parking will allow the impaired person to travel a shorter distance from their car to their destination. Disabled parking spots are an essential component for every car park since they promote overall accessibility. Next is allowing a flexible work schedule. So, flexible work can entail changing a person's hours, such as start, finish, and break times. Allowing flexibility implies that these people can choose where they want to work, when and how they are most productive and engaged. This will be much better for their mental health and also their productivity. This is because by eliminating long or expensive commute times and allowing employees to work in their own space, you are actually encouraging them to become more productive by allowing them to focus on their work instead of being stuck in traffic. According to some research, working from home is the most productive office space for employees, especially employees with disability. The global survey explains how workers are less distracted and more productive when they work from home because they can choose the environment that best suits their productivity. So I guess that is all for my recommendation part.
Hello, my name is Sheikh Muhammad Sharifuddin bin Wan Mohidin. My number metric is 81329. Finally, you could report employer that treat disabled employees with injustice and unfair to the authority. As we can see, there are law enforcement, which is under the Persons with Disabilities Act 2008, Section 29, number 1, which states persons with disabilities shall have the right to access to employment on equal basis with persons without disabilities. This also shows that employers that uh, treat their employees differently, whereby between employees with disabilities and without disabilities, they implement some kind of bias. They could be taken action according to the Act. Also under the same section, clause number 2, it also states that uh, any basis that been given toward employees without disabilities must be given towards the employees with disabilities. Therefore, as we can see here, our law enforcement also stated that employees with disabilities have their rights in employment and getting the same treatment from their employees as same as their fellow colleagues that are without disabilities. Therefore, if there's employees, if there's employers that try to implement some kind of bias for disabled employees at the workplace, uh, we as the employees could report it to the authority, so the further action could be taken towards the irresponsible employers. And not only that, by reporting it to the authorities, the justice towards the disabled employees also would be also would be shine, meaning the disabled employees would get their justice. This is also important because disabled employee, by reporting to the authority, uh, we could implement fear towards the employers that act irresponsibly towards the disabled employees. So their action of bias could be reduced, and finally our country could create organizations that give a equal treatment between employees with disabilities and without disabilities. That is all from me.